I never thought the moment would come when I would sit here, look straight into the camera, and say this out loud. But tonight feels different. Tonight feels heavier, quieter, more honest. Something inside me shifted when I learned the truth about you. I'm still trying to understand why it hit me the way it did. Why my chest felt tight. Why I had to stop everything I was doing just to sit with the feeling of it. You think I didn't notice you hiding behind the shadows of your own heart. But I did. And now that the truth is finally in front of me, I can't unsee it. I can't unfeel it. You are exposed in a way you never expected. And I finally know the truth you thought you kept tucked away from the world. But don't misunderstand me. This isn't about catching you or exposing you in a harsh way. This is about something softer, something deeper, something that has been quietly building between us long before either of us dared to acknowledge it. The truth I discovered about you doesn't make me pull away. If anything, it draws me closer almost irresistibly. And I have to ask you something right from the start. Why does your truth feel like it was already living inside me, waiting for me to recognize it? Have you ever felt something so real that you tried to hide it because you didn't know how powerful it could become? Before I tell you what I know, let me just breathe with you for a moment. You're here with me, listening, and I can feel that. I don't know what you expected from this moment, but I do know you didn't expect me to speak like this. If your heart is beating a little faster right now, I understand. Mine did too when everything finally made sense. What made you believe in love the first time? Was it someone's words, their eyes, their silence, or the way they made you feel seen without ever touching you? I want you to think about that as I speak, because the truth I uncovered about you connects to that same energy. The kind that doesn't ask permission before entering your life. And before I go deeper, let me say something softly from the heart. If this moment feels close to you, if you're holding your breath a little, then stay with me. And if you feel connected to what I'm saying, remember to like the video, subscribe, share it with someone who might need this feeling, and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is for you right now. These things matter more for you than they do for me. If it helps you stay connected with me, then do it. I keep thinking about how your truth came to me, how it wasn't loud or dramatic. It didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived like a whisper that refused to leave. And the moment I understood it, everything inside me stilled. You know when a truth is real because it doesn't rush. It sits quietly, waiting for you to be ready. And I think you've been ready for a long time, even if you never said it out loud. Do you feel energies before you hear words? Have you ever sensed someone reaching out to you, even when they're miles away? Your truth isn't something small. It carries weight, emotion, history. It carries longing. I felt it long before I could explain it. That's the part that shook me. Because usually I can separate logic from emotion. Usually I can keep things organized, controlled, predictable. But with you, none of that applies. You slipped through the walls I've spent years building, and you did it with quiet grace, not force. How does someone do that without even trying? I didn't expect your truth to be this tender. I didn't expect it to feel like you've been carrying something you were afraid to show the world. Something that mattered to you more than you admitted. Something that might have scared you because it was too real, too vulnerable. And I want to ask you something honestly. What does being cherished mean to you? Is it safety? Is it presence? Is it someone holding your truth gently in their hands and saying they won't break it? When I uncovered what you've been hiding in your heart, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel disappointment. I felt something like recognition. Like finally understanding a language I'd been hearing in pieces but never fully translated. A language only you could speak without speaking. That's why I couldn't walk away from this moment without talking to you. I've been through many seasons of life, and love has never been a simple path for me. It's challenged every part of who I am. But you made something inside me soften without warning. Why do you think that happens? Why do you think certain souls affect us even before we understand their intentions? You've been afraid of being seen, haven't you? Not seen physically, but seen emotionally, deeply, spiritually. Seen in the way that makes you feel naked without a single piece of clothing removed. That kind of exposure isn't easy. And I know you didn't expect me to notice the tiny details of your heart that you tucked away, maybe hoping no one would ever reach them. But I noticed. I saw the way your silence spoke louder than any words you could have offered. I saw the softness you tried to hide when your feelings grew stronger. I saw the fear, the hope, the hesitation. And I didn't turn away. What truth am I talking about? It's the one you've been wrestling with quietly. The one that made your breath catch when you first realized what you were feeling. The truth that you care more than you wanted to admit. That your heart is involved. That you've been trying to stay distant, but your emotions betrayed you long before your thoughts caught up. And here's the thing. I'm not exposing you to judge you. I'm exposing this truth because it deserves light. Your feelings deserve to breathe. Have you ever tried to convince yourself you don't feel something even when your heart is already committed? That's what you've been doing. You've been trying to protect yourself from the depth of your own emotion, thinking if you hide it, you can control it. But love doesn't work that way. It finds its way through even the smallest cracks. And you opened your heart to me in ways you didn't realize I could see. Maybe you're realizing that right now. Maybe you're wondering how much I really know. Maybe you're thinking about all the moments you whispered, things to yourself that you thought no one would ever hear. And the question that keeps echoing in my mind is this: why were you so afraid of me knowing your truth? What would it mean if I held it with care instead of fear? What would it mean if I told you that your truth didn't scare me at all? That it did the opposite? It made me curious, protective, drawn to you. Does that surprise you? You've been exposed, yes. But exposure doesn't have to be painful. Sometimes it's the doorway to something deeper. Something honest. Something that lets two people finally meet without masks, without distance, without forcing their hearts to hide behind their own shadows. And I need to tell you something before I go on. The more I understand your truth, the more I understand my own. But what I discovered next is the part that changed everything for me. It's the part that made my pulse race and my thoughts spiral in directions I didn't expect. It's the part of your truth that you didn't mean for me to find. And once I saw it, I knew nothing between us would ever feel the same again. When I said that nothing felt the same after uncovering the next layer of your truth, I meant it in a way that even my own words struggle to describe. It wasn't just a realization. It wasn't just a moment of clarity. It felt like stepping into the center of a storm while feeling the calm of it at the same time. You know that strange feeling when your heart expands and tightens in one breath? That's what happened to me. I saw something in you that you never planned to reveal, something you kept tucked behind layers of strength, independence, and quiet resilience. And I need you to know I didn't stumble into that truth by chance. It showed itself to me because your heart was calling for someone who could listen. You've been hiding more than your feelings. You've been hiding your fear of being hurt again. I could feel it in the way your energy shifts when conversations move too close to vulnerability. You start pulling away, not physically, but emotionally. It's like you take a step back inside yourself, and I've been wondering why. What memory holds you there? Who made you believe that being fully seen is dangerous? And how long have you carried a love that you felt you weren't allowed to express? If I'm honest with you, I felt your silence long before I understood it. Silence is a strange language. It's honest, raw, and sometimes louder than any confession. When you tried to run from what you felt, I didn't grow distant. I grew more certain, because I recognized that kind of fear. I've lived it. I've tried to outrun my own heart before. Have you ever done that? Tried to bury your emotions so deeply that even you hoped they wouldn't find you again? What made you think your heart didn't deserve to be held with care? And then I realized something that hit me harder than anything else. You weren't hiding because you didn't feel something for me. You were hiding because you felt too much. That was the truth I wasn't prepared for. The intensity you tried to keep contained. The attachment you tried to silence. The way your heart reached out before your mind could even approve it. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for, yet softer than you allow anyone to witness. It made me think about love in a way I haven't in a very long time. Love isn't always a loud declaration. Sometimes it starts as a quiet ache. Sometimes it's the way someone thinks about you when they're alone. The way they imagine your face when something reminds them of connection. The way they whisper your name in their thoughts before falling asleep. Tell me something. Have you ever felt something grow inside you that you tried to hide because you feared it might consume you? Have you tried to protect your heart by pretending it wasn't already leaning toward someone? You didn't want me to know how deeply you feel. You didn't want me to know how much space I've taken in your thoughts. But your heart gave you away. And I need you to understand that knowing your truth didn't make me pull back. It made me lean in. Because the depth of your emotion mirrors something I didn't expect to feel again. I found myself thinking about you at the most random times. Between moments of work, during silence. Even while moving through a crowded day, your presence stayed with me. It's strange how connection works. It ignores logic, it ignores timing, it chooses who it chooses. And once it chooses, you can't unfeel it. Why do you think our hearts recognize people long before our minds allow us to accept them? Your truth opened something in me. Something I didn't plan for, something I didn't know was still alive. I've learned to make peace with solitude. I've lived in the gravity of my own world for so long. But you tilted that axis. You shifted something fundamental. And I wondered, what does it mean when a woman who tried so hard to protect herself ends up exposing her heart through silence? What does it mean when her feelings slip through in the small details she never thought I'd notice? People often think love is about grand gestures. But real love is in the small things, the kind you didn't intend to reveal. The softness you try to hide. The way your breath changes when your emotions rise. The hesitation in your voice when you feel too much. I saw all of it in you, and I didn't see weakness. I saw courage. But here's where the truth became even more powerful. I realized you weren't just afraid of being hurt again. You were afraid of being chosen. Truly chosen. You've spent so long taking care of others, being strong, putting yourself second, maybe even last, that the idea of someone choosing you with intention feels almost unreal. And yet here we are, staring at the truth you couldn't hide. A truth that speaks louder than distance, louder than fear, louder than any walls you built. So let me ask you something deeply. What does it mean to you to be chosen without conditions? What does it mean for someone to look at you and say your heart is enough as it is? What would you do if the love you thought you had to hide turned out to be the love someone was waiting to understand? You might not realize this, but every time you held back your emotions, every time you swallowed your truth, every time you pretended not to care, your heart told a different story. I felt it, I recognized it, and I didn't judge you for it. I admired you, because hiding a deep emotion isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that what you feel is precious. Precious enough to protect. Precious enough to fear losing. And that's why I know your truth matters. But there's something else I need to tell you. Something even deeper than what I said before. When your truth revealed itself, it made me question things about myself. Why did your feelings affect me so profoundly? Why did it matter that you care? Why did it make my own guarded heart tremble in ways I didn't expect? And then I realized the answer. Your vulnerability touched a place inside me that I thought had gone quiet. It reminded me of the version of love that still believes in connection without explanations. You didn't just expose your truth. You exposed mine. And that's what I wasn't prepared for. I wasn't prepared to feel drawn to you in a way that makes my thoughts restless and my emotions sharper. I wasn't prepared to feel protective of you. I wasn't prepared to want to understand every reason you hide and every reason you care. Have you ever felt someone shift the atmosphere around you without even being physically present? What do you call that kind of bond? Your truth also made me notice something else. The way you talk about love. The way your voice softens when you speak about the past. The way your eyes probably reflect stories you've never fully shared. The way you carry your strength as if it's both armor and burden. I see that. I feel that. And I want you to know that your truth doesn't scare me. It invites me. There's a moment, a quiet one, that keeps replaying in my mind. It's the moment I realized you weren't hiding from me. You were hiding from the possibility that someone might actually choose you for who you are, not for who you try to be. And sometimes the truth is this. The hardest part of being loved is believing you deserve it. So let me ask you again. What keeps you from accepting the love that's already reaching toward you? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Or is it the memory of someone who didn't hold your heart with care? Your truth isn't a confession, it's a reveal. A reveal of the tenderness you try to shield. A reveal of how deeply you feel. A reveal of connection that you tried to ignore, but your spirit kept returning to. And I need you to know something. I see beyond the walls. I see beyond the hesitation. I see beyond the silence. And the more you reveal, the more I understand. But there's one final layer of your truth that I haven't spoken about yet. The one that changed my direction. The one that shifted my breath. The one that made me understand you in a way that left me both stunned and moved. It's the layer that made everything fall into place, and I'm ready to tell you exactly what it is. That final layer of your truth stayed in my mind long after I uncovered it. It didn't reveal itself loudly. It didn't arrive with certainty. It came to me slowly, gently, as if your heart was afraid to speak too clearly, yet tired of staying silent. And when I finally understood it, I had to sit back and breathe. I had to let the weight of it settle inside me, because it wasn't just any truth, it was the truth that explained everything. Every hesitation, every quiet moment, every shift in your energy whenever I spoke about love. Every time your emotions rose and you tried to push them back down, you weren't just hiding your feelings. You were hiding the fact that your heart thought you weren't worthy of being someone's future. And that broke something deep inside me. Not in a painful way, but in a way that made me want to reach through every fear you ever carried. You've convinced yourself for so long that love chooses people who are younger, or less wounded, or more confident, or less complicated. You convinced yourself that someone like me could never look at someone like you with anything deeper than admiration or kindness. And that belief lived in your heart like a quiet shadow. But the truth is this. The reason your emotions felt so fragile, the reason you hid so much, the reason you tried not to show how deeply you feel, is because you didn't think your heart could matter to someone like me. And when that realization hit me, everything inside me softened. Have you ever looked at someone and seen not their fears, not their insecurities, but the depth of their soul behind all of it? Have you ever wanted to whisper to someone that they are more than the story they tell themselves? You kept running from your feelings because you believed they were one-sided. And deep down, you were afraid that if I saw the full truth of how much you care, it would make you vulnerable to losing something you never even had yet. But you didn't realize something very important. You didn't lose anything by feeling. You revealed something that was already growing between us. Your truth didn't scare me. It moved me. It touched something inside me that I didn't expect to feel again. People assume I'm made of logic, structure, and distance. But I feel things deeply. I just don't show it easily. And when your truth reached me, it bypassed every wall I've spent years learning to hold. It felt raw. It felt real. It felt like your heart was calling mine without knowing it had a voice. The moment I understood the depth of what you hide, something shifted in me. I realized I didn't just want to understand your truth. I wanted to protect it. I wanted to protect you. And I started asking myself questions I haven't asked in years. Why do I feel responsible for the softness you try to hide? Why does your vulnerability make me feel something warm in my chest? Why does your presence linger in my thoughts longer than it should? And then it became clear. Your truth wasn't just about how you feel toward me. It was about how deeply you've been longing for someone to understand you without you having to explain yourself. Someone who sees your strength, but also recognizes the tenderness beneath it. Someone who doesn't treat your age, your past, or your wounds as barriers, but as chapters that shape the woman you've become. Tell me something honestly. What do you think makes a woman truly unforgettable? Is it her beauty? Her confidence? Or is it her capacity to love even when life has made her cautious? Your heart has a depth that comes from experience, from pain, from rebuilding yourself over and over. And that's the kind of depth that moves me. That's the kind of truth that stays. You thought being exposed meant being judged. But being exposed simply means being known. Truly known. And that is one of the rarest gifts a person can offer. There's something else I need to say, and I need you to hear it without looking away inside yourself. I see the woman you are. Not the mask. Not the hesitation. Not the fear. I see the woman who loves deeply even when she tries to pretend she doesn't. The woman who sacrifices more than she admits. The woman who carries stories in her eyes that she rarely lets anyone read. The woman who forgets how powerful her heart is because she's spent so long protecting it. And when I uncovered that truth about you, the truth that you didn't believe you were worthy of being chosen, something inside me refused to let you keep believing that. You think your truth exposes you, but your truth reveals you, reveals your courage, reveals your tenderness, reveals why my heart keeps pulling toward you even when I try to keep distance. Why do you think certain people enter our lives and shift the atmosphere without effort? Your silence made sense to me, your pauses, your hesitations, the softness behind your guarded words. Everything made sense after I understood what you feared most. You were afraid of being seen as someone who wanted too much, when in reality all you wanted was something simple: to be chosen, to be valued, to be understood, to be held in someone's heart without needing to fight for space. And now, I want to ask you something that I want you to answer honestly in the comments. What does being loved without fear look like to you? What does it feel like when someone holds your truth instead of pushing it away? What does it mean to be believed in? Even when you doubt yourself, the truth I discovered didn't make me question you. It made me question myself. Why does your vulnerability feel so important to me? Why does the thought of your heart being afraid make me want to reach out and reassure you? Why does your truth feel like something I'm meant to protect rather than analyze? And then one more realization hit me. The most unexpected one. Your truth didn't just expose your heart. It exposed mine. It made me see how much I've been holding back. How much I've avoided letting anyone come close. How much I've convinced myself that love is something reserved for a different version of my life. But you changed that. Your truth opened a door inside me that I thought was sealed. So here is what I need to say to you before I let this moment settle. The truth you hid from me isn't something you should run from. It's something you should let breathe. Because your heart has more strength than your fears allow you to believe. And whatever you feel, however deep it goes, however scared it makes you, it is real, and I see it. I honor it. I don't turn away from it. But there is one more truth I discovered. The final truth. The one that made everything come together. The one you never meant to reveal, but your heart exposed it anyway. The truth that you've already let me into a place inside you that you don't let anyone enter. A place where your hope lives. A place where your future quietly waits. A place where your love has been growing even when you tried to hold it back. And that truth didn't scare me. It made me feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Something that made my own heart step forward.